Who doesn't want high-definition TV? Nobody! That's why you bought that big TV in the first place, right? But the thing is, plenty people got that big flat-screen TV for Christmas or their birthday or whatever, but they didn't get an HD cable box to go with it. That means that they're watching this regular TV signal on their big HD TV, and it could look so much better. See, an HD image is 4 times the size of a regular digital TV image. To get true HD, you gotta have Rev TV HD to go along with your HD TV. So here's the deal. You can get a Rev TV HD box today for about as much as you're paying now for your regular digital box. And you'll only pay half the cost to access over 100 HD channels with Rev TV HD. You're welcome.
Your HD TV deserves true HD, so upgrade to Rev TV HD today for just $4.99 a month for a limited time from Rev TV. Rev TV HD, how we define TV.
Government still in discussions about the date of the promised constitutional referendum. The Commissioner of Police changes his outlook on crime in Grand Bahama. The Minister of Education calls for an investigation into claims that an educator has a criminal past. The newest police officers receive a stern warning about corruption. We have those stories and more coming up tonight. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Christina McNeil, and your MB12 starts right now. Joining us. National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage says details of a constitutional referendum to address gender inequality are still under discussion. This despite the Prime Minister's prior promise that everything would be in order for the poll to take place before the end of June. The country's referenda fall under the portfolio of the National Security Minister, who said he's unaware that any final date has been set. Dana Smith reports.
The referendum has been delayed for the 3rd time, and Nottage said when another date is determined, he will let the public know. He admitted the delay is due to the lack of a promised education campaign on the issue, but he did not say when that campaign is coming.
It is just a question of ensuring that the general public is fully aware of the issues that will be placed before them. And I think since the referendum committee reported, there has been no public explanation or presentations by them as to what it is they will be asked to approve or not approve. And so I think it's just a question of ensuring that when the public is asked to vote, they know what they're voting on.
Prime Minister Perry Christie had said in Parliament last October it is simply unacceptable to have any further delay in addressing the gender inequality in present laws. He promised a referendum would happen this June and constitutional bills would be brought to Parliament before the end of 2013 and passed by February 2014. He also promised a public education campaign. However, that campaign has not started, nor have any bills or draft bills come to light. And last week, Constitutional Commission Chairman Sean McQueenie told our news team it is unlikely the referendum will take place by the end of June. When Nottage was asked when a final date will be set for the referendum, here's what he had to say.
I am not aware that there's been a date determined. The matter is being discussed, and as soon as I know, I'll make sure that the 3 of you know.
The Free National Movement has hit out at the government on the issue. Senator Carl Bethel told NB12 last week the government created a legislative bind. He said many important bills have yet to be tabled. Bethel described the government's legislative agenda as lacking in focus. Nottage, however, would not respond directly to the comments.
They're in opposition. What do you expect them to say?
In current laws, a Bahamian woman married to a non-Bahamian does not have the same constitutional right to pass her citizenship to her child at birth, irrespective of whether the child is born abroad or in the Bahamas. A Bahamian who fathers a child to a foreign woman outside of marriage does not have the same right to automatically pass citizenship on to that child. Those are 2 of 6 gender equality issues the government has promised to address. Reporting for NB12, I'm Dana Smith.
And although Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslade had previously said there were no concerns about Grand Bahama when he was asked about the recent crime incidents, he now suggests his comments were taken out of context. On April 1st, MB12 asked Greenslade if there was concern about some of the recent incidents that happened on that island. This was in the wake of a spate of killings. The commissioner said in response, quote, "No concerns about anything happening on Grand Bahama."
What is always difficult is that when members of the public hear the comments that are offered by people in a leadership position like myself, they never hear the questions. The question asked of me was about crime trends in Grand Bahama, not about whether I'm concerned generally about crime in Grand Bahama, and that is the context. There is no crime trend in Grand Bahama that concerns me, and I state it again for the record.
Speaking to reporters yesterday, Greenslade said that the recent killings in Grand Bahama are a concern to police, but officers are continuing to do work.
We have had murders recently in Grand Bahama, which are cause for concern, and they're being investigated. As a matter of fact, 3 of the previous matters were quickly wrapped up to the extent that people were arrested, weapons were recovered, and they've been charged before the criminal courts.
The commissioner says the police force is doing a fantastic job in combating crime around the country, and crime stats are down across the board, though murder persists.
We've been doing a fantastic job. If you were to look at the overall crime figures, that is major crime statistics, all of the figures are down across the board. Grand Bahama significantly, Family Island significantly, and also in New Providence. What, however, is a reality is that nobody is interested about a reduction in crime when people are still being murdered on the streets of our country. And that is the thing that we cannot escape.
And as the country continues to combat illegal marijuana use, National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage says the use of the drug for medicinal purposes is an issue the government will eventually be confronted with, and a decision will be made when the time comes. Noting his training as a physician, Nottage says the drug does have its use in the medical field, and just like any other drug, it can be used by doctors to treat illnesses.
Marijuana does have medicinal properties, and so any physician would prescribe a drug in the necessary doses or a legal drug. And, you know, there are many drugs that we use to treat conditions now are not legal to be in the hands of people who do not have a prescription.
However, when pressed, Nottage said as a politician he hasn't given the matter any consideration. But in time, the government will undoubtedly address the issue.
It's not a question of if I'm not practicing medicine now, I'm practicing law. But not law, but you understand, I'm practicing politics, public policy. But it is a matter that our government, like any other government, will be confronted with in due course, and we would have to make a decision. But I haven't gotten to that stage yet.
CARICOM has already begun preliminary discussions on the use of marijuana for medicinal purposes. This as Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell said the government will study the matter. Opposition leader and former Minister of Health Dr. Hubert Minnis has voiced his disagreement on the issue, while current Health Minister Dr. Perry Gomez has indicated he is open to considering the issue. And the Minister of Education has ordered an investigation into claims that a veteran educator in the public education system has a criminal record. Education Minister Jerome Fitzgerald says he has commissioned a report on the educator's 17-year history as a teacher and now principal, with particular focus on what was and was not disclosed at the time of hiring back in 1996.
He's been in the system 17 years. I'm trying to determine now the circumstances upon which he entered the system, which is really my concern. And once I get to the bottom of that, then I will state further. But the facts are, as I stated, up until this matter coming out the way it has, from our standpoint, based on his performance, we had no reason whatsoever to question his ability for the position he has.
Fitzgerald explains that the vetting process in the 1990s was not as stringent as it is now, but to his knowledge there have been no complaints filed against the man in question while he was employed as an educator. Fitzgerald described the principal's record as exemplary, as someone who has taught on various family islands over the years.
Recently, I've taken very strong stand with regard to vetting. The point I'm making to you is that 17 years ago, that vetting process that's in place now is not the same that was in place before. And so we'll look on this one and look at the merits, but I want to have a better understanding, because he would have gone to the Public Service Commission, and I want to have a better understanding of what that process was when he went and what disclosures were made at that point. The gentleman in question, I don't want us to go and destroy this man's character any further than it's been done.
Despite concern raised by members of the public and president of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, Belinda Wilson, Fitzgerald says he doesn't believe the time has come to begin re-examining the history of educators who've been in the system for a number of years before the new vetting process was introduced.
I don't know if we're going to go that far. I mean, that's, we have instituted a vetting process now that is very rigorous. Moving forward, and that is a sign of the times. I think that the sign of the times have warranted that we do that.
Fitzgerald says he will take into account recommendations made by teachers, parents, and the teachers' union. Coming up, the commissioner welcoming 62 new recruits into the police force yesterday evening, but it came with a warning.
I don't want anyone calling our children corrupt.
And a little later, taxi drivers want a franchise of their own. That and so much more when MB12 returns.